Hey guys, how's it going? Karen with Love Your Land here. So I was not planning on shooting this video, but I just realized I needed to make more of my dog's treats. If you're new here, you probably don't know that I have two dogs. They're both Havanese. One is Scout and he's 7. And then I have another one that's 6 and his name is George. And they just mean the world to me. But Scout in particular is allergic to like everything. So I have to make his treats. And so that's what I'm doing today. So these are, I know this is pretty specific, but you don't have to have a vegan dog to need to do this. This is just what I have as a vegan dog. So I'm gonna make these potato treats. I used to buy these exact potato treats, but from a company that made them, but they only sold them in little tiny bags. And so I called them one day and I was like, hey, my dog loves your treats, but there's not enough. Do you sell them in bulk? And they did, but it was like, 5 pounds at a time, and that was like too much. So anyway, she goes, you can just make them. And I was like, I can? So that's what we're gonna do. So this is a super simple recipe. Dogs love them. If you're relying on treats as part of your dog's like daily nutrition, then these are not for you. But if you're just using treats to sort of motivate for different things that you want them to do, or just as little rewards, and especially if you have a sensitive dog or dogs, these are great. It's potato flour, potato starch, molasses, and olive oil. So all you're gonna do is take a half a cup of potato flour. That's a half a cup. And then 3/4 of a cup of potato starch. Now, of course, I have small dogs. My dogs are like 13, 15 pounds each. So they're little, but this batch of treats lasts them collectively about 5 weeks. So I mix the dry ingredients first. This is a very stiff mixture, and it's pretty hard to really get the dry ingredients mixed thoroughly if you just dump everything in one bowl. So there's the dry ingredients. And then we're gonna do 1/4 cup each of the olive oil and molasses. I do the olive oil first because it comes out easier. I've done this a lot of times, you guys. I can't believe I even need to look up the amounts. And I will tell you that I do 1/4 cup of olive oil, and then I do like another little splash. I don't know if it's a altitude thing or what, but it tends to be a little too stiff if I just do the 1/4 cup. So I just give it another little bit. And then we do 1/4 cup of the molasses. And I literally had this recipe was part of my last telemed with Scout's nutritionist. And I was like, is the sugar, like, am I gonna cause them to have like diabetes? And she said, no, you're giving it, I'll show you how small I make them, but she said, you're giving him small amounts and it's lasting, we looked at the calendar and it was 5 or 6 weeks, I don't remember. But she said, he's not getting that much sugar, so it's okay. And then you just combine the molasses and olive oil. And what would be better is a whisk. Because it takes a little bit of doing, not much, but a little bit of doing to get the olive oil and molasses mixed, but now it's combined. All right, now we're gonna take our flour mixture, dump a little in. You notice I'm wearing gloves because we're gonna get in here with our hands in a minute. And this makes it a lot easier. And I'll show you the consistency when I'm done. So you can mix with the whisk till about this point. And then if you keep trying to mix it with the whisk, you're never gonna get this all out of the whisk. So at this point, I get this out of the whisk and start using my hands. And here come the dogs. They know when it's cookie day. I get very excited about this. So now we're gonna dump the rest in. It's still rather, it's sliding around there. In a minute, it won't be. It'll be like a dough ball. And I just kind of go slow because you don't want to fling the flour everywhere. And I would show you this up close as I do it, but I just never think that far ahead. To be honest, I'm just like, look at the gist, but I'll show you the consistency when I'm done really combining everything. I mean, you can hear it's like, it's a stiff dough at this point. I'm not trying to knead it. That's not part of this. I mean, there's no gluten in this. I'm just trying to combine everything really well. Okay, now I'm gonna come show you this up close. Okay, here you go. So this is what you get to. It's a very well-formed ball. Okay. I'm gonna start with one piece of parchment, put my dough ball in the middle, put another piece on top. I'm sure you guys have done this before. And I'm gonna get my rolling pin. And now I'm gonna start rolling it. So the goal right now is to get it about 1/4 of an inch thick or maybe a little bit less, and you want it to be in a rectangle shape. I'll tell you right now, you're not gonna get the whole thing into a rectangle shape. You're gonna end up cutting and having like ultimately three rectangles or squares. And this is gonna come in real handy. And actually, I almost forgot this part. What makes rolling things out on parchment paper a lot easier is if you put down a damp dishcloth first, and then put your parchment on there and it'll stay in one place rather than chasing it all around your counter. Now we're gonna roll. See, and it stays right in place. You don't want these to be too thin, but you don't want to be too thick either. So, and again, I'll show you the thickness once we get there. Okay, so that's obviously not a rectangle, but the thickness is exactly where I want it. I'd say that's more like 1/8 of an inch. That's pretty good. So now we're gonna set parchment paper here, and I'm gonna start making this into a rectangle. So I'm gonna cut off pieces wherever it starts to not be a rectangle. Just like that. And this just makes it like 10,000 times easier to cut them up into little treats when you're done. By the way, I have my oven on preheating to 350, because that's where you're gonna wanna, that's the temp. And you just gather up all your little scraps and make another rectangle. And sometimes I cut it up because, like, right now I didn't really plan out where I was gonna this to end up. So it's right in the middle, so it's kind of in the way. So I'm just gonna cut this in half. I plan on putting one there. And when they're this small, I just use my hands really to get them to the shape and thickness that I want. I use my hands and the bench scraper. And then I just take the bench scraper and do like that. And it works out great. Okay, and then our other little ball of cookie dough. I call them cookies, and to the dogs. And I can't believe they're not in here right now. I mean, they came in, I don't know where they went. But once these come out of the oven, they're just like, "Mommy, Mommy." It's so cute. This one's a little bigger, so I may give it a little. Yeah, that feels better. And what's great about these two is that you know exactly what's going into them, as opposed to, whether it's human food or dog food, the amount of ingredients that are in pre-made food is ridiculous. So now you're just gonna take a cookie sheet and just carefully set them on there. I think this is too far. Yeah, so I'm gonna need to move one of these up a little bit. Just go like that. And then you can move this You know, if your pieces are not in the right spot, just try to move the small ones and you'll be in good shape. So that's fine. They're not gonna run together or anything like that. They're gonna stay kind of just like this. And there you have it. Can you see them? Yeah. Well, that one's a little bit, let's move that one too. There we go. Okay, so now this is gonna go into the oven. This is really important. It sounds like it might not be, but I'm telling you, it is. This is gonna go in the oven at 350 for 8 minutes, and not 8 minutes and 30 seconds, just 8 minutes, because this starts to get, they start to get really dry, then they just crumble and crack when you try to cut them up. So you want them to still be a little soft, like a soft baked cookie when they're done. And that is, at least for my oven, that's exactly 8 minutes. I've even pulled them at like 7.5 if I've rolled them a little too thin. So I'm gonna put these in the oven and we'll come back magically in 1 second, but it'll have been 8 minutes. All right, we'll be right back. And there they are. They look exactly the same, but they're not. Just slide those right off. So this bench scraper, as you can see, it's not long enough to go through any one side. So rather than cut and then have to pick up and do that, I just will cut this bigger piece in half. So now I can just go through and make my cuts. And it's like a soft baked cookie right now, like I said, so it's really easy to cut them up at this point, and that's what I would recommend. I've let them cool completely before, and then I'm breaking them. So this is what I do. Let's speed it up for you. Isn't this fun? I honestly love doing this because they know I'm doing this for them, and they're just like so cute. They're right here. They're so grateful, and it's cookie day. It's like, you know, when your kids are little and it's like, you guys want to make cookies? And they're like, yes, our mom's the best. Same thing. And any of these like weird little ends that come off, that's what they get once those cool down. They get those for just being awesome. Bless you, Scout. All right. And the last one. Okay. Now, if you really want to make this like the cutest thing you do for your dogs, get yourself one of these. No, I have 2 of these because I do actually have different treats for George. I just have been using these lately. But I got these little, they're like chalkboard looking stickers, and this one says Scout and the other one says George. And so then I just take this and put them in there. And no, I don't really need to, I haven't found, there's never been a mold issue or anything. I don't really wait for them to cool down any more than this. I just plop them right in there. And this batch fits perfectly in here. So these go in here. I should say one more thing. You should leave this open. So like I said, I've never had any issues with them molding at all. But while they're warm, I would leave it open until they're totally cool, and then you can close it up. And I keep this closed when not distributing, and they stay totally fresh. I also make them this size. Can you see them? Not even close. Let me show you. I make them that size. And they're really easy to break right in half. So I usually break them in half so I can get them to do multiple things at a time that I want them to do. But you know, that's getting a little in the weeds, but that's what I do. And then as a bonus, for those of you who have been around for at least 7 years, I think what we need, do you want a cookie? Is you need to see Scout, because you haven't seen Scout in so long. He's the cutest thing besides George. He is what I tell him is he's the cutest golden dog I've ever known. So you get one, you're welcome. And then if I can catch him, We'll show you George, who looks completely different. They're both Havanese, but my phone thinks he's a Schnauzer poodle. So I call him my little noodle. But yeah, they're both Havanese. Do you want that one? This is George. Fix your ear on camera. Anyway, you guys have never seen George, like not officially. I think you've seen him riding around. But this is my little Georgie, and he's 6 and Scout is 7, and this is why I make cookies. That's it, you guys. Make your dogs some treats. They'll love it. They'll be so excited about it, and it's just the cutest thing. You want to get back up here? Yeah. Oh. That didn't work. He started starfishing on me. There you go, buddy. Okay, we're gonna give some to George. Okay, say bye-bye. Bye-bye.